So if you feel confident in answering these questions, then you should do great tomorrow on the quiz. Griffin?
Do you have an extra copy?
Yep, sure do.
I lost my
Okay, I don't know if I have 2 extra copies, but just go ahead and, oh wait, here. Here's an
I
extra.
just need the back page.
Yep, you can have it. And then there's one right there too. Oh, that's okay. All right, so first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna sketch what's happening here as Billy is at the ski lodge. So first thing I would notice is that she takes lift 1. Well, I'm actually gonna list out all of the times here. Okay, these increments are by 20s. I'm not gonna put 40 because it looks a little cluttered there. So I'll have 60, 80, 100.
I think it for me, it does get really cluttered. I had to write down all of them.
Apparently I can't count today. Yep. There we go. Okay. Yep. No. This is just for my own, like, way of looking at it. No. However as long as you still have it in 20-second increments, you're good. Right? Okay. And then we can see that this is going by 50s. So I would go ahead and fill this in. This 0 should not be here. You guys can cross out that 0. Doesn't really make sense. So, all right.
Where do you want me to put it? I found it.
Oh, you just put it right there on the counter. Thank you. Okay. So the first thing that Billy does is she takes lift 1 up to the next landing. She traveled 150 feet upward for 80 seconds. So I'm going to go up to 150 over to where 80 would be. Right? And then I'm going to connect those from where she started. No, so she starts at lift 1, which is right here, like at 0. She goes up to 150 over the first 80 seconds. Okay? She had to wait for 60 seconds for a free seat. So 20, 40, 60. She took that lift 2 up to the top of the monster. This trip took another 80 seconds to climb another 100 feet. So she's actually going to go all the way up to 300. And it's going to take 20, 40, 60, 80 seconds. 40 seconds to arrive at the edge of the cliff. So she's up there, but then she has to scoot her way over to the edge, right? I've never been skiing before, but I can imagine someone like shuffling in their skis. Does that happen?
You go like kind of ice skating.
Okay. But you like work your way over to where you would then take off. Okay. Takes a while? Okay. You've seen it happen? Okay. So from up here, she takes off. It took 20 seconds and she finished 40 feet below, 50 feet below. So 20 seconds is 1 increment over, but then all the way down to here, so this is pretty steep.
She cleared 350 feet in 20 seconds.
She's cruising. It's kind of hard to draw, right? Make sure you have it in that narrow space. In order to take the lift back up, she has to ski down an additional 50 feet to get in the line for the lift. It took 10 seconds. So I'm not going to go over an entire 20. I'm just going to go over the 10. Right, so this is where it gets a little bit smushed in here with all the times. She had to wait 30 seconds before she get a seat. So this is 10, 20, 30. She took the lift back to the lodge. It took 60 seconds. 20, 40, 60, back up to the lodge. So this is what your sketch should look like. Yes. Yes.
When you, like, I noticed how at 0 you don't put a meter, you're not supposed to put at 0.
Like right here?
Yeah.
You can. Yeah.
Why'd you go all the way across to the 3?
Because it said it took her 60 seconds for this lift back up to the lodge. So I showed 60 seconds. And then this is where she's now back up at the lodge. So the lift is a lot slower than her skiing, like her elevation on the lift is a lot slower than her. Yep.
It took not near as much time, but it didn't go as
No. Okay, so let's go ahead now and answer these questions. Hopefully, you found these to be fairly easy to determine based on the practice we have done. What's the independent variable? Time. All right, x values. Dependent variable.
Do you need to put X values?
You don't have to, no. I'm just doing that so you guys.
No.
Yep. Yep. Yes.
Miss Marsh,
Yes.
is altitude the same thing?
Sure. Yeah. Elevation, altitude, you can put those. What ordered pair is the x-intercept? So there's a couple different x-intercepts you could have put here. Who can give me one of the x-intercepts that could have been an option? Vincent?
0, 0.
Sure. What's another one that could have been an option? Sebastian?
277 or 278. 0. I put 278.
Great. As long as it's somewhere close to that, right? It's not exactly 280, so you can't really put 280. It's not exactly going through that, because 280 is supposed to be where it is at -50, right? Zane?
380, 0.
Sure.
Oh, no, mine.
So if this was the quiz, any of those three answers would count. Okay?
Do we need to put all three of them?
Nope. It just asks for one,
Okay.
right? So really that question could say, what ordered pair is a x-intercept? Or which one would be an x-intercept? What ordered pair is the y-intercept? We only have one. Nate? 0, 0. Right? We only have one spot where it goes through the y-axis. Okay? Where is the relation increasing? So there's a couple different answers you could have here. Give me one. Carson K?
0
Less than or equal to what was the last one? So I'm going to say 80. Yep, it's increasing but here. And then what's another spot where it's increasing? Will?
140 to 220.
Yep. In between 140 and 220 seconds. And then the last choice, Mason?
Oh, it makes sense now.
Pretty sure it's like 320 to 880.
Yep. Who said, oh, it makes sense now?
And that would be me.
What makes sense? Like what? How we're writing them?
Yes.
Okay. Because you can see where the start and stop increasing are. I'm sorry?
Basically the coordinates and then
So there was a practice when the sub was here. Okay. All right, where do we see it decreasing? Who can give me some windows of where it's decreasing? Dylan?
60 is less than or equal to x, which is less than or greater to 280.
Less than or equal to, less than or equal to. Yep. And then there's another section. There's a lot of conversations taking place. Where is another section? I see 2 people who've already participated. I see 3 people who have already participated. Sebastian?
There is 280.
Upside down.
Yeah. 280 to 2.
Yeah, 280 to 290. Ben, you paying attention over there? Let's turn around and like, so it looks like. Okay. Okay. Griffin, you okay over there? Okay. Is that what we've been working on over there? Is trying to get you a pencil?
That feels so good.
Okay, let's go on to the next page.
Nobody wants it.
We're on question 8 now. All right, Caleb, do you have a question or did you want to give me an answer? Okay. I'm sorry? Perfect. I had it less than or equal to 279 because it looks like it was going right down there. But I'll understand. Within a few here, right? I'm sorry? Yep. Yep. As long as it's actually a section that is above the x-axis, that counts.
Like I said 260 with that.
Yep. Okay, I need you guys to stop talking, please. We're going over the study guide. Okay. How about a section of the graph where the relation is negative? What do we have there? Harsha? Okay, so I'm going to show you something really quick. So you're right, but when we're talking about negative and positive, we're looking at the x values, okay? So like we want to have the boundaries be the 2 x values here, not an x and a y. Does that make sense? So like you did, because you said negative 100, right? So that's combining the x, that'd be part of the range, not part of the domain. So we want it to be between these 2 points. So what are my boundaries for those 2 points? And 380, is that what you had there? Yeah. So that's what, is that what you said the first time, or did you say? You said 300? You said I'm sorry, I thought you said negative 100. I don't know what I was hearing. It's kind of hard up here when there's. Okay, and then you said 320, which would have been fine because it is negative between those 2 points. But I'm going to include all of the possible. So mine's going to be 279.
Is it okay if you go in the middle of those?
It's fine.
Okay.
Yep. As long as your boundaries are actually somewhere with the x values that are actually below the x-intercept.
What if they're on the x? Because 279 is on 1.
Right, so that's fine. I'll know what you guys mean when I'll know you know what you're doing. Okay. Absolute maximum, what does it represent? So, Zach, what did you have there?
Oh, I had a different question.
Okay, go ahead.
Would you count it as wrong if we put like negatives in front of the numbers?
Right, because the actual x values aren't negatives, right? The actual x values are positives. It's just the y value connected with those are negatives, right? So the negatives would be our ordered pairs as the y values, but these x values are, this time lapse is all in positive values. Yep, great question. Okay, absolute maximum. Nate?
200, 300.
I don't think 200 is up at 300. I have it at 220.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Screwed up our graph.
Okay.
260, 300.
Right? Or you could have 240 or 260. Okay, yes.
Would it work if you did like 220 is less than equal to x is less than
It says
Um,
right.
So we need it. Hey, guys, there are way too many conversations happening, and so people are not hearing what they need to. If this does not interest you at all, that I'm not going to force you, but let's not ruin it for everyone else that does want to do well tomorrow. Okay, so if you want to have side conversations, like write your friend a note. Don't yell across the room, right? There are people that want to do well, so let's be respectful. Okay? So you have to write it as an ordered pair because it's actually a point, right? When it's looking for a region, that's when we show as an inequality, right? So you could have said 220, 300, you could have said 240, you could have said 222, right? Because that's in there at that 300 height. Anything within that line would have worked. And then what does it represent? Who can tell me what this means? And what? Don't say it's the maximum value. I know, but what does it mean in context of this scenario? Mason?
The highest piece of the highest point out of the resort.
Okay. No, you're right, but specifically, what is the highest point? What does that 300 stand for?
Oh, I don't see a hand
What?
anywhere.
300 feet? And what time was it? How long had she been?
207. She's been going for 200.
Yeah, so at 220 seconds, she was at 300 feet. Okay, so that's what it actually means in the context, right? I am going to expect you guys to be that specific on the quiz. Don't just say it's the maximum.
I was going to say it was the top of the monster.
Yep, don't say it's top. I want to know, what does the 220 stand for? What does the 300? And the way you can find that is, remember, this is your x value. So look at the x-axis title. This is your y value. Look at the y value title. Like, remember, it's all about the graph and x's and y's in algebra. Okay? So what is a relative maximum? So we're looking for another peak that is not actually the highest point. Cannot be end points. Cannot be the end points. Grace?
140, 150.
Sure. 140, 150 would be one because it's a peak, but it's not the highest peak. You could say 80. 150, you could say anything in here as a relative maximum. And what does that mean? Oh wait, hold on a second. We're not going to worry about the interval. We're just going to say, what does it represent?
150